Welcome to the first Cabinet meeting of the year. And I just want to say a few words because in 2026, thanks to the choices that we have already made, more people will begin to feel the change that we promised in their bills, in their communities, and in their health service. So despite the chaos that we inherited, you can already start to see the difference that a Labour government makes. By restoring economic stability, interest rates have fallen 6 times, helping homeowners with their mortgages. By investing in our NHS, with 5 million extra appointments, hospital waiting lists have fallen, meaning that patients are able to get on with their lives instead of waiting in agony for treatment. By getting more police patrolling our streets, violent crime has fallen, which means families can feel safer when they're out.
Imagine being so spectacularly wrong about a policy that even the man who mentored you at the start of your legal career, someone who counts you as a personal friend, someone who was invited to celebrate your entry into Downing Street, feels compelled to publicly denounce your plans as most unfortunate. That's a position Sir Keir Starmer finds himself in over his government's absolutely bonkers proposal to effectively abolish jury trial for huge swathes of criminal cases. Fitzgerald KC, a legal titan who helped shape young Keir's career, has broken ranks to slam Labour's plans to take a side to one of the most fundamental pillars of British justice. When your own mentor is calling you out, when the entire legal establishment is united in opposition, when 39 of your own MPs are threatening rebellion, you might want to consider that perhaps, just perhaps, you've made a catastrophic misjudgment. Let's dive into this absolute constitutional car crash. Quick favor. If you're loving what we're doing here at British Mirror, hit that subscribe button and smash the bell icon. Over 94% of you haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, takes about 2 seconds, and honestly means a world to us. Cheers if you've already done it. Right, back to the show. A lawyer who mentored Sir Keir Starmer in the early days of his legal career has blasted the Prime Minister's plans to take a side to jury trials. Blasted, not mildly criticized. Not politely disagreed. Blasted. That's the language of someone genuinely horrified by what they are witnessing. Fitzgerald KC said it was most unfortunate that Labour was planning to get rid of juries for all but the most serious criminal offences in a bid to cut through the court's backlog. Most unfortunate. That's a kind of diplomatic British understatement that actually means this is an absolute disaster and you should be ashamed of yourselves. When a Queen's Counsel, a man at the very pinnacle of the legal profession, describes government policy as most unfortunate, translation is this is constitutionally reckless and fundamentally wrong. Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary David Lammy is pressing ahead with plans to reduce the need for juries despite widespread opposition from the legal profession, police and crime commissioners, and civil liberties groups. Despite widespread opposition. Let's just pause on that for a moment. The legal profession, the people who actually work in the justice system every day, are opposed. Police and crime commissioners, the people responsible for local justice, are opposed. Civil liberties groups, the organizations dedicated to protecting fundamental rights, are opposed. That's pretty much everyone who knows anything about criminal justice saying this is a terrible idea. And the government's response? Full steam ahead. We know better than all of you. If enacted, the plans will see the number of jury trials cut in half, with only crimes such as murder, robbery, and rape tried by a jury. Cut in half. That's not tinkering around the edges. That's fundamentally transforming how British justice works. Murder, robbery, and rape would keep juries. Everything else? You're getting tried by a judge or magistrate alone. No jury of your peers. No community representation. No democratic participation in the justice system. Just state officials deciding your fate. Swift courts will be created within Crown courts, which hear other serious offences, without juries. Swift courts, that's Orwellian branding for justice without juries. Speed over fairness. Efficiency over rights. Processing cases like an assembly line rather than actually delivering justice. Magistrates will also be handed the power to dispense prison sentences of up to 18 months, giving them the power to hear cases for offences where the sentencing guidelines go beyond the existing magistrate limit of 1 year. 18 months. That's 1.5 years of someone's life. That's losing your job, your home, your relationships. And the government wants that decision made by magistrates, who are often volunteers with limited legal training, rather than Crown Court judges with full juries. That's not just questionable. That's genuinely frightening. The potential for miscarriages of justice is enormous. Automatic rights of appeal will also be stripped from defendants, requiring them to seek permission to appeal first. Stripped? Gone. If you're convicted and you think the trial was unfair, you don't automatically get an appeal anymore. You have to ask permission first. From whom? From the same judicial system that just convicted you. That's not justice. That's a closed loop where the system protects itself from scrutiny. And complex financial and fraud cases will also be stripped of juries to stop jurors from giving up months of their lives. Now, fraud cases being tried without juries is particularly concerning because these are often cases involving powerful corporations, wealthy individuals, and intricate financial crimes. Having those decided by judges alone, without community input, raises serious questions about accountability and transparency. Ministers say the changes are necessary with the Crown Court backlog set to hit 100,000 cases by 2028. 100,000 cases. That's a genuine crisis. Courts overwhelmed, victims waiting years for justice, defendants languishing in legal limbo. Something clearly needs fixing. But critics say the proposed reforms will overwhelm judges and deny defendants the right to be tried before a jury of their peers. That's a fundamental question. Do you solve a backlog crisis by abandoning core principles of justice, or do you solve it by properly resourcing the court system? The government has chosen option 1. Critics are screaming that option 2 is the only legitimate answer. Mr. Fitzgerald has gone against his former mentee despite their personal friendship to speak out against the plans. Despite their personal friendship. That tells you how serious this is. Edward Fitzgerald could have stayed quiet. He could have privately lobbied. He could have avoided public criticism out of loyalty to someone he mentored and clearly respects. Instead, he's gone public, putting principle above personal relationships. That's what people with integrity do when they witness something fundamentally wrong. He told The Telegraph, "It is most unfortunate the government has taken this position. Jury should be kept." 3 words. Jury should be kept. Simple, clear, unambiguous. A highly acclaimed Silk who was made a CBE in 2008 for his work on human rights, Mr. Fitzgerald was among a select few personal friends allowed to welcome Sir Keir into Downing Street in 2024. Select few personal friends. This wasn't a colleague or acquaintance. This was someone invited to one of the most significant moments of Sir Keir's life, his first day as Prime Minister. That's how close their relationship is. And yet Fitzgerald still felt compelled to publicly criticize these plans. He has been widely described as a mentor for the future Prime Minister. Starmer was among the barristers who joined Doughty Street Chambers when it was founded in 1990. Mr. Fitzgerald was one of its founding heads. So Fitzgerald literally helped establish the chambers where young Keir cut his teeth as a barrister. He was there at the beginning, shaping Keir's legal thinking, mentoring him through complex cases, building the foundation of his legal career. So whoever's in power, whoever's in has got a very tough job on their hands, and Keir Starmer is not the right man. That last sentence is a killer. Even if the job is incredibly difficult, even if anyone would struggle, Starmer specifically is not the right man for it. Someone else might succeed or at least have a chance. Starmer doesn't. Preston's formal prediction is emphatic. My prediction is Keir Starmer goes, absolutely. I thought he would be gone by the end of 2025. And I have to confess, I did put a small £10 bet on that, which hasn't worked. I've now officially lost 10 quid. The fact that he actually bet money on Starmer being gone by end of 2025 shows this isn't just punditry. Preston was confident enough to wager on it. He was wrong on timing, but maintains his right on the ultimate outcome. I think most people feel that he will be gone. Most people don't think it's certain. I think it's almost certain he has to go. The football manager analogy Preston uses is perfect and devastating. Labour cannot improve. It's like a football manager when the club is at the bottom of the league. 3/4 of the season have gone, and your only chance now is to change leadership. You swap managers. This captures the logic of leadership change when recovery under current management seems impossible. You're not necessarily sacking the manager because they are bad. You're sacking them because the situation is beyond salvaging under their leadership, and only change offers hope. When Dawn Neeson asks who would replace Starmer, Preston immediately names Andy Burnham as the popular choice at the moment. Burnham is currently mayor of Greater Manchester and doesn't have a parliamentary seat, but Preston dismisses that as a minor obstacle. He doesn't have a seat, but that's easily doable. I think Clive Lewis came forward and offered his seat, which he really shouldn't have done, that undermined Keir Starmer in early December. I think there would be plenty of people that would step forward and do that knowing they'd be compensated down the line by the Labour leader. This is where the prediction gets really interesting because it outlines a specific mechanism. Burnham becomes Labour leader. Some Labour MP, probably in a safe seat, agrees to stand down and trigger by-election. Burnham stands in that by-election, wins easily because of the safe Labour seat, enters Parliament, and becomes Prime Minister. The MP who stood aside gets compensated with a peerage or some other position. It's been done before in British politics and could easily be done again if Labour decides Burnham is their salvation. Preston's analysis of Reform UK and Nigel Farage is also insightful. He notes Reform is polling around 28% on average, and even if they drop to 25%, they should be very comfortable because that's still historically high for a party of their type. But he identifies a psychological danger. The problem is, it's at momentum, isn't it? If it were to carry on, and when you fall, like with football, when you have a bad run, people start fighting, infighting, causing trouble behind the scenes, and that's a very difficult job for a manager to handle. Preston raises a question about Farage's leadership, and the question is, if they dip down to 22% and there's infighting, is Nigel Farage the right man to manage that? This parallels his Starmer critique. It's not enough to be good when things are going well. Leadership is about handling adversity, managing declining momentum, preventing infighting. Can Farage do that? Preston seems uncertain. The broader context for all of this is Labour's catastrophic polling. They are being hammered across almost every metric. Approval ratings are terrible. Economic confidence is low. Trust in government is cratering. The contrast between pre-election promises and post-election reality is stark. Voters feel deceived, disappointed, and angry. That's the environment in which Starmer is trying to project optimism and hope, and it's simply not working because he doesn't have the personal charisma or political capital to overcome it. Preston's sympathy for Starmer actually makes his critique more powerful. He is not gleefully predicting the PM's demise out of partisan hatred. He genuinely feels sorry for Starmer's impossible situation, while still concluding that he's doomed. That's more devastating than pure partisan attack because it suggests even sympathetic observers see no path forward for Starmer.